that wants to say that they feel your pain, because they don't. This administration doesn't feel your pain. They're never going to feel your pain because they don't care about you or any working person. They care if you don't show up to work, because then work's not getting done. Someone's got to clean up after them. Someone's got to furnish them with all of the luxuries that they've become accustomed to. That's the reality. And this idea that, Trump was going to come in on day one. And look, anyone who knows anything about how our economy works and how administrations work knows there was no way, that was never going to happen. The only way, and I said this all during 24, the only way this happens is if the Business Roundtable, our oligarchs, were on the same page with Trump and said, okay, the Reagan thing. We're going to send the message. I mean, think about this. Had they done that, had on day one, prices drop 5%. First month, they drop another couple of percent. And the message then is he's bringing prices down while simultaneously allowing wages to go up, maybe saying, hey, let's push some minimum wage increases. Let's throw them something. Kind of like they threw with the no tax on tips and the no tax on overtime. Not a large percentage of people get overtime, and very few people pay taxes on tips. It was great messaging. Not a lot to help people, but it was really good messaging. Had they been able to continue that through, and right now we'd be sitting going, oh my gosh, even I'm better off than I was last Christmas. Now, personally, I am so much better off than I was last Christmas. My wife was in a hospital. We didn't know she was ever going to walk or talk or what kind of life. I am so much better off, so much more grateful. And I'm probably spending a little more than I did last year, which was nothing last year. So for me, we're in this moment where had they made things better, it would make it much more difficult to go, things aren't great. But things aren't great. And the working class of this country, they know it. I want to hear your thoughts. How are things in your checkout lines? What conversations are you having? I want to hear it. Rick at thericksmithshow.com. Miss any portion of the program, download the podcast wherever you get your favorite podcasts. You will find ours. And always, thanks so much for being here. We'll see you back here next time.
You've been listening to The Rick Smith Show. Email Rick at rick@thericksmithshow.com. Until next time, this has been The Rick Smith Show, where working people come to talk.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. Democrat Renee Hardman was elected to the Iowa State Senate yesterday in a year-end special election, blocking Republicans from reclaiming a two-thirds majority in the chamber. Hardman beat Republican Lucas Lofton by an overwhelming margin to represent parts of the Des Moines suburbs. The seat became vacant after the October 6th death of Democratic State Senator Claire Celsey. Forecasters are warning of even more frigid weather in the Midwest. Parts of Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota, and Wisconsin are dealing with near 0-degree wind chills. This follows a storm that dropped heavy snow in the Midwest, Great Lakes, and Northeast. Auckland, New Zealand is the first major city to ring in the new year. Meanwhile, AP correspondent Julie Walker reports on security preps ahead of the New Year's Eve celebration in Times Square.
In Times Square, Mayor Eric Adams, ahead of the big New Year's Eve celebrations, assuring the public it will be a safe night.
We do not have any specific or credible threats regarding the New Year's Eve festivities.
But over the years, one threat has been harder to detect: the lone wolf. NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch says For the first time ever, police will be doing secondary screenings of people inside the pens in Times Square.
So we will have mobile screening teams walking around the pens, and if we see anything that looks suspicious, we will have teams in place to do appropriate screening.
And Mayor Adams has a warning for protesters.
We will have a zero tolerance for interfering with the celebration.
Officials say thousands of police will be working, beat cops, undercover officers, heavily armed tactical units, mounted police, bomb-sniffing dogs, drones, and harbor units. Julie Walker, New York.
This is AP News. Iran has appointed a new governor to the central bank after the former one resigned, following a record currency fall against the U.S. dollar.
President Masoud Pezeshkian's cabinet named Abdel Nasser Hemati as the new governor. The currency's fall had sparked the largest protests in 3 years, with rallies beginning on Sunday and continuing until Tuesday. Experts say a 40% inflation rate led to public discontent. Meanwhile, in a video statement, Iranian government spokesman Fatima Mohajirani says, "I reiterate that listening to the voice of the people, even when they protest and when their protests are harsh, is a duty of the government. We'll do our best to restore calm through a process of dialogue that's already started and through reforms." Mohajirani adds the new governor's agenda will include a focus on controlling inflation and strengthening the currency. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
And I'm Marcela Sanchez.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. A mixture of precipitation likely today, otherwise cloudy skies expected. Highs level off around 34, winds out the west 10 to 15 miles per hour. Slight chance of snow tonight, lows level off around 11, partly cloudy skies. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Tomorrow, high temperatures reach up to 22. About an inch of snow today through tonight. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently 28.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Welcome to Choose Views with Richard Chew.
Get ready to dive into a world of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that focuses on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chew.
Good Wednesday morning, progressives. Chins up and shoulders back. It's time to fight. Guess what? Today is New Year's Eve. Welcome to the December 31st, 2025 edition of Choose Views, 773-763-9278. Find my show on Facebook Live, TuneIn Radio, and YouTube. Email me at richard@wcpt820.com. Follow me on X, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Blue Sky, Threads, Substack, and Spoutable. Yes, you can follow me there. It is New Year's Eve. I got the date right, December 31st, 2025. It's the last time I'm going to say this year. How about that? But we get to kick off a new year. Catch all of our shows by subscribing to our WCPT podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. There you can get Choose Views, featured interviews, Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive, and most definitely Patty Vasquez driving you home every day. It's the Democracy Stupid with Edwin Eisendrath, Out Chicago, and our other shows and interviews. Always great to talk about my truly colleagues. Democrats, stop referring to the Republicans as your colleagues. They're not. But in any event, make your way over to heartlandsignal.com because the good stuff is there for you to click on and to share with the people that you care about, that you want to be informed, that you want them to be informed. And oh, by the way, every now and again, there'll be something there, like every day, an article that or a post that will have you better informed than some of the people that like to call you their colleagues and coworkers and cousins and crazies. People that are not quite plugged in, still can't figure out why things weren't resolved and fixed on day 1 or day 100 or 110. But make your way over to heartlandsignal.com because that's where all that good stuff is, and you will be able to forward things on and share, which we love to do. Got to share. On today's show, we will have with us, once again, one of those smart people that puts together policy, who's been with us before. Ibrahim will be with us in the 6:30 hour. Looking forward to chatting with her again to kind of give us an end of the year, beginning of the new year forecast. So it's really good timing to have her on. And then in the 7 o'clock hour, Kurt Mullett and I, we're just going to yuck it up. We're going to trash talk. We're going to laugh. We're going to have some fun. He and I were able to hang out on Christmas Eve on the show, and we're going to hang out on New Year's Eve on the show today. So that's going to be fun. And then speaking of more fun, Michelle Peltier, who you guys know is one of the co-hosts of the Family Meeting and is one of the best partners you can have when it comes to someone filling in and hanging out and making sure that the show keeps going forward. Michelle Peltier will be with us in the 7:30 hour to bring us some of her nuggets of information as we wrap up 2025 and head into 2026. So looking forward to having all three of our guests with us and most definitely wrapping up for this year as we get into the new year. So there you go. Tomorrow's show will be a pre-recorded broadcast of some of our best of 2025 shows. We'll be back live on Friday, kind of doing a little bit of a remote broadcast on Friday. But there you go. We're keeping it moving because Henry is the ultimate train conductor on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday because I can't cut out my man Devin on Monday and Tuesday. They both drive that train. All right, guys, that's what's happening today and the rest of the week. But right now, check this out, progressives.
Republicans know they don't have the numbers to keep the majority after the midterm, and they certainly don't have them to win a presidential race in 2028. They're preparing for a hostile takeover. Here's their plan in 5 quick steps, and it's ugly. Step 1, when Democrats win elections like Grijalva did in Arizona, they'll just refuse to swear them in. Why? Because they know that seat equals the one vote that threatens what they're hiding. Step 2, they're going to redraw every district line until only Republicans can win them. They'll call it representation. Sane people will call it rigging. Step 3, they're going to claim that every state-run election is rigged. Then they're going to push for federal government to take over the process for security reasons. They're not interested in protecting elections. They're interested in owning them. Step 4, take over the company that counts the votes, Dominion Voting Systems, now bought and rebranded as Liberty Vote, run by a Republican-aligned former official. Step 5, Trump will keep building ICE into his own personal army. Remember, their budget jumped from $9.6 billion to $170 billion. That's more than the military budgets of some entire nations. Because if he's alive in 2028, he's running again. And this time, he'll need to control the elections and the machines that count them. And when people rise up, and they will, he'll already have militarized ICE ready to put it down. When the Republicans delay Democrats from taking their seats and redraw the maps and take over the vote counting machine and push states out of their own elections and ignore the Constitution and arm ICE to the teeth for an uprising, the writing isn't just on the wall, it's carved into it. They're not trying to win votes. They're trying to make your vote irrelevant, and they're building ICE into the blunt instrument that will silence anyone who refuses to accept it. And one more thing, the dark left isn't about being dark. It's about giving a voice to those left in the dark, the unseen and the unheard. We're not the problem. We're the response to it. Together, we are the dark left.
As haunting as that may be, the majority of it, the last 3 sentences is what I really want you guys to take away. And if you want me to send that to you, I know I've got some emails to respond to, but if you want me to send you that link, I will. A warning is always a good thing. A warning brings awareness. A warning says, hey, hold on, son, daughter, wife, husband, mom, dad. Okay? A warning has benefit and properly delivered and received can be a tool of positivity. That's how I look at it. As haunting as what he has to say is, the warning needs to be taken seriously, because last year, meaning in 2024, there were tons of warnings that were put out by so many different people. I'll take credit for for being an instrument, if anything. Karen Byrne and I talked about Project 2025 until we were blue in the face and her hair turned blonde. Okay? She's a redhead. She's a ginger. Okay? And Taraji P. Henson took time on during the BET Awards to talk about 2025. So many of us talked about 2025 and so many other things. There were warnings. Okay? The reason I wanted to play this clip at this moment, at this last show of the year, is please, y'all, pay attention to the warnings. There are people who did not pay attention to the warnings. I know that the phrase that's been used a lot, we tried to tell you, which is advanced to, no, we didn't try to tell you. We flat out told you. This is a warning of what the Republicans essentially have to do to stay in power, because they don't have the numbers. Stop being willing to hear the garbage of what I'm about to say. People making statements about the Democrats didn't do fill in the blank. The Democrats don't do fill in the blanks. And all the other things that you want to say negatively about the Democrats. Right now, as imperfect as he would have been, or she, I would take Joe Biden and Kamala Harris 10 times over what we're dealing with right now. And I know every one of you who listens to this show, whether you're on the left, in the middle, or on the right, agree with that. You know you would. And so in that space, listen to the warning that is in that clip. Heed the warning and be ready to do something about it, because the last 3 sentences of what he had to say, I wish we could play those again for him, Henry, if you can spool that up, I don't know. That's what we have to be reminded of. The dark left, the resistance, the pushback, the folks who pull up their chins up and shoulders back that I say each morning, that's who we have to be. Be damn what they're planning on doing. It's a reality. It's the warning. But we, as the quote-unquote left, we as the empowered left, have to recognize the successes that we've had. And I don't care, people want to play the poison pill and all rich we're not. No. No. That's not how I'm built. And in the worst of times, the worst of circumstances, I'm looking to find a way to still fight my way out of a situation. And that's where we are right now. I'll take the lead in saying that. We have to fight ourselves out of this situation. Ain't nobody coming to save us. The savior is in the mirror. That's who the savior is, guys. And as tough as that clip is about all this garbage that the Republicans across the board, in every situation, even in your own family, you got some Republicans who want to continue to play this crazy game. You got to call their behinds out. You have to not give a damn about how much longer they're going to remain good family members. How in the hell can you hang out with a family member? As Eric Grant says so often, how are we going to live with these people? You got a family member that's running around your house urinating, but they're family members. We got to, they're family members. No, they got to go out the door in the cold. That's how we have to look at this now, I believe. We have to understand that the things that are happening from this White House and administration and all of the GOP and all of their affiliates, the moneyed up parts of the Republican Party, all the money, the folks that are throwing money at this presidency and trying to weave their way into our systems, our largesse, our government, our tools, they have to go. We have to beat them like they stole something. So I would suggest that during the New Year's weekend, you go out and you find a couple of sledgehammers, a couple of aluminum baseball bats. I'm saying this figuratively. And prepare yourself for this fight over the next 11 months. And if it's with a family member, who cares? They're trying to harm you. I'll put it in some very blunt terms, but to remain positive. Would you allow them to come into your house and destroy things just because they're family? The answer should be no. They got to go. So that's how I look at this as it relates to 2026 and 2028, as it relates to elections and all the ones that take place in that window, the local, the regional, the national. Bring a aluminum baseball bat to the fight. The reason I say go to heartlandsignal.com every morning is because we've got stuff there. We've got tools. Rich, how can I be more informed? What can I do? I don't have all the answers. I know that. So I use the tools that I use to be better informed. That's what we have to do if we truly believe in this. And that's the key question. If you truly believe in what we're trying to do and move our country forward, really move it forward, not this garbage that's coming out of the White House and all of the GOP, whether it's the lieutenant governor in Indiana, Micah Beckwith, or the governor, Mike Braun, or somebody in a blue state that didn't do their job. They got to go. But I will tell you this. Don't fight against our own party right now. Fight for our own party. Fight against the Republican Party. Across the board, up and down, all states, all locations. Fight against them like they stole something, because they have. We are the resistance. We are the left, the dark left, if you will, that is not going to take this anymore if you're really being honest about what you want and what you say you believe in. So with that being said, I believe we need to take a quick break. The number is 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
This is a WCPT Veteran Minute. In 1939, when Europe was on the brink of war, a single mother was bringing Jewish refugees into her home, teaching her two daughters to help others when you can and fight injustice. Freddie and Tross Alferstegen took their mother's advice to heart, joining their mother in distributing anti-Nazi newspapers and pamphlets for the resistance, a dangerous act when the Nazis invaded the Netherlands. But with the girls being young, Freddie being only 14 and Tross being only 16, Nazis were less likely to suspect them to be working for the resistance. This is most likely why in 1941, a commander of the Haarlem resistance group to ask their mother if he could recruit Freddie and Tross. Their mother and the girls agreed and were given basic training, and within 2 years the girls were bringing Jewish refugees into hiding, working in emergency hospitals, sabotaging bridges and railway lines, and killing Nazis, sometimes ambushing them from their bicycles. Despite the Netherlands not wanting to acknowledge the girls' achievements, their contributions to helping the Allied powers will never be unnoticed.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Welcome back to Choose Views with Richard Chu.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. So listen, don't tell me we can't win in these special elections or in elections in states that were, red. Caitlin Dray won a state Senate seat in Iowa. Back in August, we had her on the show. She won, not because we had her on the show, but she won. We had her on the show. In Iowa, guess what? Last night, Renee Hardman, we've had her on the show twice. We had her on in late November and back again in December before their early voting, when their early voting kicked off. Renee Hardman won in Iowa. Look it up. It's a big deal. You know why? Because people tell us, we can't win in these places. We can't. 50-state strategy, 100% every district and congressional district and every state legislative seat. We can win them if we put the work in and show the voters that we got better ideas. Like David Jolly says, our ideas are better for a greater number of people. Yesterday, Holly Kim made a point about we've got to stop, and I've said my version of this. So it's always fun to have Holly Kim on. We've got to stop allowing Republican talking points to be words that come out of our mouth. We have to stop that. And that's one of the ways, that's one of the pathways toward fixing some of the problems. It's our message, our ideas are better. Forget theirs. Stop, we'll negotiate. No, you're just flat out tell people you're wrong. No, that's crazy. That's stupid. And I know some people don't like that I use stupid, but sometimes stupid is appropriate. That's a stupid A idea. That's a dumb A idea. Or we can make it sound more intellectual. That's an ill-founded perspective. At the end of the day, it's still a stupid A idea. We have to be willing to say those words to the people that are pushing back. And listen, it's always during the holiday season and times when we get together en masse that we have to be prepared. Just like the weekends, as I said, about getting you guys, started up for the weekend. Same thing with the holidays. New Year's is tomorrow. So be prepared, because our ideas are better. And if somebody says something to you, just tell them Richard True said our ideas are better. If they got a problem with trying to understand and believe that, turn them onto the show. I'll help them understand why our ideas are better. Henry, let's hit them with a couple of quick Choose Views news items on this December 31st, 2025. Tariffs trigger earnings growth for the U.S. materials sector. While tariff causes headwinds for the global economy, the U.S. materials stocks are turning out to be a boon. In 2026, U.S. import levies are poised to lift earnings growth to a 5-year high for companies like paint giant Sherwin-Williams and steelmaker Nucor, according to Bloomberg. Notably, the only sector seeing faster earnings growth is technology. Metals and packaging firms are expected to see the biggest boost due to trade protections that bolster steep prices and increase demand for consumer goods and companies. We'll see what happens. Job seekers are turning to dating apps for networking. Job seekers are turning to an unlikely tool in a tough market: dating apps. Frustration with automated application systems and artificial intelligence resumed screening have pushed workers to seek out networking connections through apps like Hinge and Grindr, of all places, according to Bloomberg. Henry, that's crazy. Drop your resume on the dating app, but hey, you got it. That's fighting. I guess you got to look at it from that perspective. Nearly 1/3 of dating app users say they've used them for job-related purposes. One recent survey found that this is a trend that isn't limited to just Gen Z. Nearly half of job-hunting app users earn over $200,000, suggesting experienced senior employees are adopting the strategy. I got to look for a job. Let me go to a dating app. I'm not teasing anybody. I'm just saying, wow, but there you go. Audiobooks, bright spot, quote, for publishing as print sales are slipping. Audiobooks are beginning to outsell the hardcover versions of popular titles as readers embrace this format. Publishers face softening demand for printed books. Overall, audiobook sales have continued to grow after a 24% surge last year, meaning in 2024. They've been driven by celebrity narration and excerpts posted on social media, as well as lower price points. Still, even this bright spot, quote, for publishers is clouded by concern among professionals as the industry is about to see the rise of AI-generated narration. And the winter storm is upending travel across the northern U.S. of A. Rough weather conditions are expected to continue to disrupt the holiday travel today, tomorrow, and Friday, with the winter storm creating havoc across multiple states in the Northeast and here in the Midwest. More than 2,700 flights have already been canceled or delayed this week. Monday saw the highest amount, upwards of 10,000 flights delayed in total. And last but not least, Silver's wild ride continues with the rally. What's that? The Silver roller coaster gave investors more whiplash yesterday. The futures market surged as much as 5% in early trading, restoring some of the losses that were recorded on Monday when the precious metals reached $80 for the first time, suffering its largest single day drop in nearly 5 years. So silver's on the move. Meanwhile, metal and copper and some of the other items are still being impacted by the influence of artificial intelligence when it comes to investing. So there you go, guys. A couple of Choose Views news items on this December 1st, 2025. Just to keep you posted on some of the things. The dating employment app. I wonder if somebody's going to come up. The answer I already know is yes. At some point, somebody's going to come up with an app, Henry, that is it combines both of them. Yeah. Right now, it's an app for dating that people are posting their resume on and doing other things. But somebody's going to come up with an app that will do both I don't know what that'll look like because it could get really clouded. I mean, I'm not going to be a bad boy this morning, but you can imagine my thoughts in terms of what that could represent. But here's the thing I will say. If you decide to use something like that, be careful because you're putting your information out there in kind of an odd way. So just be very, very careful in that space. All right, Dims, listen, we can take back the House. There's 22 to 28 seats potentially up for grabs, depending on how many people decide to walk away on the Republican side. We talked a little bit about the Senate earlier this week. There are a lot of factors at play, but we know that there are districts throughout the country in Arizona, California, Colorado, Iowa, Maine, of course, Michigan, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, and Washington all are in play in terms of those areas. These are areas that are leaning in the direction of Democrats. So we've got to make sure we push to get what we got to get so that we can take back the House of Representatives. We take back the House. What that means is it's going to get a little bit tricky for the Republicans, specifically the administration, because then we're going to have the numbers we need to go forward to bring this administration in front of Congress. That's going to also have an impact. This is why it's important, too. It's also going to have an impact on states, because when it comes to funding and some of the things that Trump is doing when it comes to executive orders, it puts a little bit of pressure on the administration because now they've got a congressional watchdog known as the Democratic Party being able to say no and bring these items to Congress. So I take a deep breath in that space, but it's one that we've got to make sure that we get back. We're going to talk about that a lot next year, so it's right around the corner. Just to let you guys know, we're going to be talking about how important it is, where the races are. We're going to have candidates on from different parts of the country so that we can keep you guys informed. All right. People always ask me what they can do to support the work we do at WCPT and Heartland Signal. As always, the best way is to support our sponsors and tell them you appreciate them advertising with us. But if you're on Facebook, there's another way. You can now subscribe to the WCPT 820 and Heartland Signal Facebook pages. A subscription is 99 cents per month. We will have some special offers for our subscribers coming soon. So visit us, WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk and Heartland Signal on Facebook, and hit the subscribe button. It's not going to explode. It's going to be good stuff there, so do it. Today on Live, Local, and Progressive, Tori Ryder will be filling in for Joan, and her guests include Kendall Scudder, chair of the Texas Democratic Party, and Valerie Geller, president of the Geller Media International Group, a broadcast consulting firm that trains broadcasters and podcasters to become more compelling and powerful communicators. Joan Esposito will return on Monday, January 5th, Live, Local, and Progressive, weekdays 2 to 5 here on WCPT, heartlandsignal.com, and tune in. Tonight on Driving It Home, Patty Vasquez will be joined by car guy Tom Appel, host of the Consumer Guide Car Stuff podcast. Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays 5 to 7 Central here on WCPT, AM 820, the Heartland Signal website. Tune in, YouTube, and Facebook. And then tomorrow, as I said, Choose Views we'll have a New Year's best of show. I'll be back Friday with guest Karen Byrne from True Blue Politics podcast, Eric Grant, my cousin and the host of The Family Meeting, and Qasim Rashid, author, human rights attorney, Sirius Host XM, will be with us, creator of Let's Address This on Substack. Qasim Rashid is the truth, y'all. You'll want to tune in for that interview. I'm looking forward to hanging with him on Friday. But right now, let's take a quick break. The number is 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM. From Warren County, North Carolina, I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more, 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. A mixture of precipitation likely today. Otherwise, cloudy skies expected. Highs level off around 34. Winds out the west, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Slight chance of snow. Tonight, lows level off around 11. Partly cloudy skies. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Tomorrow, high temperatures reach up to 22. About an inch of snow today through tonight. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently, it's 28 degrees.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
Richard Chew's got his eyes on the truth.
And you're right where you need to be.
This is Chew's Views.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. It is always great to be with you. And we're reaching that point where the end of the year is right upon us, but the new year is right around the corner. So it's kind of a two-pronged way of looking at where we are. And one of the things that's always great is to be informed as we go forward. And we've been fortunate on this show, to have some great people that visit and hang out with us to help us be better informed and be more aware of what's happening. A former senior advisor at the White House National Economic Council is now a fellow at Columbia's Center on Global Energy Policy. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Ibrahim, who's been with us before and is just such a stellar person, so smart, so aware, and plugged in. Good morning, Aya, and welcome back to Chew's Views.
Good morning, Richard. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, I gotta throw some fun at you for a second. It's a small world of we're a big world, but we sometimes are in a small world. You and I have a common colleague in Kristen Quarles from Fair Share America.
That's right.
I saw when you were on, or when she was on, one of the two. I think it was when she was on a couple times ago. The next, a couple days later, I saw this post. I'm like, there they are.
That's right. We were at a rally together.
Yeah, that was cool. That was really cool. Small world, and in this case, a small world that's great because of both of you guys. Both of you women are brilliant. And you are so committed to bringing information to our communities so that people are better aware of what's happening real time, but then also how we go forward and what our positions have to be to fix some of the craziness that's out there. Aya, take a moment just to kind of remind our audience a little bit about you, your background, and the work that you do, and then we'll get into a couple of policy-related questions and just some things about 2026.
Sure. Well, first, I just wanted to say thank you. That's very kind, and Zen is leading some incredible work. Just by way of background, I had spent some time on Capitol Hill working on all things economic policy and tech policy, and then spent time in the Biden administration, both at the White House and later on at the State Department, but similar portfolio, working on economic policy and tech policy, both domestically and then later on more so internationally focused, but have been in the space for some time.
I think that most people, when they think about economic policy and they think about tech policy and energy policy in general as a header of a subject, people kind of go like, "Oh God, that's going to be nerdy. That's going to be in the weeds, and it's going to be all those kinds of things." I'm throwing a little bit of assumption in there, or a little bit of stereotype in there, and I know by design I'm doing that. I'm not doing it by accident or to be reckless. But what's really fascinating and great about the work that you do, and I'll put Kristen Kroll in that same conversation to some extent, is that what you guys do is you look at what's happened, and then you say, okay, what happened wasn't the best thing. What do we do to make sure that, one, it doesn't happen again in the future, or that what we do, that the solutions that we come up with, the quote policy, makes certain that we're moving in a better direction. And that's what I really appreciate about folks like you that do the work that you do and make sure that we are better informed. How do you receive that? How does that, when you think about as someone that analyzes policy and has been an advisor, how do you take that on?
Well, I can speak for my approach. Policy is people, right? So as long as that is both your starting and ending point, then yes, some of it is technical and some of it is complex. And, there are a lot of different factors, and you're weighing costs and benefits, both literally and figuratively. But at the end of the day, if you never lose sight of the fact that whatever policy you're working on, there are people, there are communities, there are families on the receiving end of whatever the upside or downside of that policy might be, then it's a lot easier to work through. And to folks who are watching the decisions being made, regardless of which administration or which party is in power, they also should remember that the things that are being debated, it's about them, right? And they need to hold us accountable in making sure that we're not forgetting them when we're making those decisions, in the instances where sometimes people can lose sight of that.
Yeah, I think that's being informed, or having people be aware of what the process is, but also what the hopeful outcome will be of good policy or better policy. I think helps people feel a little bit less intimidated by that pure conversation, or the words that we use when we talk about policy advisors. There is a conversation that's going on right now about, the obviously the economy not being an economy for all people. Trump and the GOP ran on, we're gonna fix everything in day one, or we're gonna fix everything immediately, and that clearly has not happened. And I think anybody that was in their rational mind knew that you could take 5 presidents and put them all to working together in the same direction, and they still wouldn't get everything done on day one. So for people to have believed that was a little bit irresponsible for folks. But here we are. And we are living in a dual economy, frankly, or maybe some might say three economies. An economy for the uber wealthy that don't have to do anything to sustain themselves because they have so much money and so much access that they don't have to worry about really anything other than who's going to be, the loudest voice at the next gathering of the wealthiest people on the planet. That's one group. The other group might be the people that are making significant money, but they're not in that class, but they essentially have nothing to worry about. And sometimes those are the people that aren't paying attention the most, because they're kind of like, it's not that bad for me and my family. We're doing fine. We're making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year. We've got, X, and we're doing fine. We're not the billionaire class, but we're doing fine. But then there's that other percentage. And I can't break down the exact numbers of what these 1, 2, and 3 groups are. But this is most of America. And it's people who believed in that we're going to fix everything on day one, got bamboozled. And that economy, those people in that part of the economy are clearly the ones that are suffering the most because of what this administration is doing. So how do you help Americans, or how do you think Americans can be helped when it comes to policy to try to fix the disparity that I just kind of roughly ran through?
Okay. Easy question. I just want to start by pushing back just a little bit on this idea that people were foolish to believe that this president was going to come in and fix everything on day one. I think people have been having a hard time for a long time, and many people voted not whatever it was that we were doing. And not necessarily affirmatively the other thing, just not whatever the status quo was, not whatever they felt was the current system, which was not serving them. And so how do we make this better? And we have to hear voters when they tell us this isn't working for us, right? And we have to have humility in our policymaking, and we have to be willing to accept that sometimes you don't get it right, but you have to keep trying. And so what do? We keep trying. I think that the levels of inequality in this country are one of the, if not the biggest threat to our democracy. You cannot have a healthy democracy where the majority of people can't even really participate because they're working, 2-3 jobs or spending their time trying to figure out how they're going to make the math work on rent and groceries and gas and health care, as a lot of the supports for these things are being, stripped away from them. So I think there's a how do you tackle the inequality question, and that really goes back to tax policy, right? Because the tax code is the best tool that we have to manage inequality. Like, taxes do raise revenues, and that's a way to raise the money that we need for certain programs, one way of doing so. But it's also the best way that we have to ensure that there are not these massive concentrations of wealth in this country among just a handful of people. There's this ongoing fight around health care and the Affordable Care Act subsidies, the premium subsidies. And, starting on January 1st, many people who were previously insured will no longer be insured because the premiums became too expensive as a result of these tax credits going away and not being renewed. That, I think, is going to be another massive hit for many families. There is a debate in Congress right now about whether or not to extend them, and there's been a push in the House. I don't know about its chances in the Senate, but if you're asking about one area where people can sort of organize and be plugged in, that's one.
So what worked? I'm sorry. So what was happening wasn't working, and I'm trying to summarize this in my brain with what you said in terms of the economic issues having been there before this current administration. I agree with you. They were there in his first term, and they weren't resolved, and they were there during Biden's term, and they weren't fully resolved. And they were there prior to Trump in many ways. But the thing that happened is that as I see it, the Republican Party policy sort of game plan isn't one that's designed to help larger groups of people. It's run on politically as that, but it's not actually something that they ever execute. I can't, in my lifetime, go back and say Republican economic policy, Republican tax policy, and all the rest. And I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying, how do we affect that? Because it's not been a thing in my lifetime where Republican economic policy or tax policy has actually served the masses. Whereas Democratic policy, maybe not always tax policy, but certainly economic issues, healthcare, social issues, and how that affects the economy, because social issues have an impact on the economy as well. People just don't sometimes dig deep enough. But that right there is where the kind of the Mendoza line is. Republican policy has not effectively helped the masses of people. Democratic policy has, as imperfect as it has been. So do you think as we go forward and we go into 2026, well, let me ask the question differently. What do you think is going to be our biggest economic challenge in 2026, knowing what we're about to face when it comes to so many things? I don't want to tip your hand, but what do you think is going to be the biggest issue next year?
I think we're facing a few issues, so I don't want to just hammer in on one, though I think they are issues to varying degrees. There's a healthcare piece that I mentioned, and I think that will certainly be a big issue. They're also looking at what we call leading indicators. for the economy that kind of tell us where things might be going, those leading indicators are trending in the wrong direction. So in looking at unemployment, for example, and specifically Black and youth unemployment, those have been ticking up. And those tend to be kind of canary in the coal mine indicators of what might be coming down the pike. So I am worried about jobs, and I'm worried about the strength of the labor market. Folks have been talking about sort of a hiring recession. So even though it's not necessarily a ton of people are being laid off yet, they are not hiring many new people. There's sort of been a pause on hiring. That's not great. There's also increasing levels of household debt. So credit card debt among households has reached a record high. It's like 1.2, 1.23 trillion. And at a time when interest rates are also at record highs. You have student loan delinquencies that are also have reached record highs in 2025. And the administration, the Department of Education, just announced that they are going to begin wage garnishment in January for borrowers who are seriously or severely delinquent. You have, moving forward, the cuts that were made in the Republican tax bill that will take effect in 2027, but you'll start to feel some of the consequences of that even sooner, particularly on the healthcare front, and we can talk more about that. Overall, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say that just overall, the trends are not going in the direction that we want them to, particularly in the way that you sort of categorized it, for the majority of Americans who are already having a hard time. And many of the things that they relied on in order to make the math work are also being cut. And then there's just the overall uncertainty of the way the economic policy is being made currently, and all of the anxiety that also produces for families who are trying to figure out their own budgets. And so much of the conversation focuses just on how the stock market is doing. The stock market is not the economy is not the economy in the way that the majority of Americans experience the economy.
Yep. That's so well put. And I made a note when you were talking earlier about tax policy. And of course, this is what a lot of people miss. A person's 401k could actually be up at work, which is an indirect indicator of the economy because it's growing and it's based on market appreciation and its most basic way. But they could still be struggling at work because they're not being paid well enough to sustain themselves. And that's what a lot of people don't talk about. This person may not have received an adequate raise in line with inflation for the last 5 years. They're still working. They might be working 2 jobs. And guess what? They've maxed out their 401k at work. So their 401k is growing. So it looks like they're doing well there. And they are in that singular measuring tool, but they're still working 2 jobs. So
that's right.
Okay. Bring us home on that because.
Well, not just the last 5 years, over the last 40 to 50 years, there's just been this divergence between the increases in productivity of our workers and how much we're paying them for that work. And so when I talk about things not working for a long time, this is one of the things that I mean. And so when you have inflation, there's no room for error for a lot of families in how they're budgeting their expenses. And so even if there are marginal increases, that will be hard. But it's been more than marginal increases. Like this is now year 4 of inflation, and it's not coming down in the way that families need. And the policies are not helping alleviate that stress either. But to your point about, you can on paper, based on your 401k, look like you're doing okay. I mean, that is only relevant at the moment that you retire, right? So, and it's also dependent on how all of the different players in the market are behaving, because if there's a ton of recklessness, as we saw leading up to the financial crisis in 2008, 2009, your 401k might not be worth that much when you do have to retire. So there's a lot of risk there. But for that kind of middle contingent of people that you were talking about, there are many Americans who feel like they're doing great and actually are doing great because they own stocks in companies that have been performing exceedingly well. And so they have a lot more money to play with. But again, many working class and middle class Americans are not seeing those gains that are happening in the stock market, but they are experiencing the consequences of inflation, of uncertain economic policy, of the destruction of the social safety net, et cetera.
Yeah, and it's almost a deception is not the right word, misdirection in some ways, because we see that the market's performing well, generally speaking. But people are still struggling in their day-to-days, and that's the hard part about all this. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu, and we're talking to Ibrahim, who is just a phenomenal policy person, policy advisor, and now one of the leading voices when it comes to our nation's direction, or that we should be taking in this space of policy. Let me ask you this question. I wrote this down earlier when you said tax policy, or you said, Richard, it's kind of a simple answer. What is it that you think would be the simplest thing to do or the easiest thing to do when it comes to changing tax policy so that our tax policy benefits a larger group of everyday working class Americans like you and I just talked about a moment ago?
Yeah. So I don't know that I'd say it's simple or there's any one silver bullet, but what I would say is the tax code kind of functions differently for high wealth Americans versus sort of everybody else. High wealth Americans and corporations and then everyone else. You know, the way that we tax income relative to the way that we tax wealth or capital gains. And so most Americans, they are receiving wages or salaries, and that is taxed as income. And then you will have, incredibly wealthy Americans who their compensation packages are mostly stocks, for example. They're not getting paid a salary in the same way. And those stocks, the tax treatment for that and how they use those stocks to fund whatever it is that they're doing, their lifestyles and whatever further investments, versus the way that income is treated. You also find that working class Americans' tax rate their effective tax rate may be higher than that of someone who is making, infinitely more than they are. And so it's, how do you think about the tax treatment of wealth? So how do you think about, capital gains, for example, the money that people make off of investment in whatever set of assets? How do you think about the inheritance of wealth? How do you think about the ways in which those who, own stocks, for example, can borrow against them while not being taxed for that, and borrow against them use the stocks that they have and the value that are assigned to those stocks, borrow against them as collateral, but then not be taxed on any appreciation in that stock, even though they're benefiting from that appreciation in the value of that stock, in the way that then they're able to borrow more against it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Oh, I get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that, and I'm sure you have been keeping up with this debate that's kind of blowing up around the California wealth tax. It's hard to do, and whatever policy you're going to do around this, like, you want to make sure that obviously, one, it is legal, but also, two, that it is implementable. So that is always a challenge for policymakers, is you can have all the best ideas in the world, but how do you get it from an idea to something that is being executed out in the world?
Yeah, and I think that so many people are drawn into the conversation, and I know we're wrapping up here, which means that more often next year we're going to have you on because of the conversations that we've got to have around this. But more people everybody hears the tax the rich and the wealthy and the billionaires and all that and the big corporations, and as a bumper sticker or as a headline, yes, that needs to happen. The question on the other side is what then happens with that taxing of those folks that are labeled in that category, because there's some layering to that. There's a couple of steps that can be taken to get us there, but it's going to start with policy, and it's going to start with people that are willing to tackle that and not care what the opposition is saying when there's pushback on taxing those extraordinarily high incomes and wealth communities. So it's difficult, but it's something that we've got to take on, I believe, and I hope that we can continue to have conversations about it and get that into action. So let me ask you one other question as we kind of wrap up. What are your, I guess, points of optimism and things that you want to see us all taking on and kind of fighting for it as we get into 2026?
My points of optimism.
Oh.
No. I mean, I want to be thoughtful about this. My consistent point of optimism is that this is not the best that we can do, right? I think the greatest trick that has been played on us is to convince us that this system, the way that things are, that this is the best that we can have, and the only alternative is for it to get worse. It can be so much better, and all it comes down to is choices. So we can demand a better government. We can demand better policies and better outcomes. Everything comes back to choices, and people have agency in this. I do not, sort of the politics of despair. There's no way that it can be better. There's no point in participating. I completely understand why people who have been failed by a system repeatedly feel that way, and I do not blame them. But what I want people to remember is that there is a better way for us there's a different way, and there are better ways for us to do things. And that is a reason in and of itself to keep going.
Yeah, that's great. That is great information. And a great way to look at this. I've taken that position as well, or parts of what you just said is we have to be optimistic. We have to fight for what we want. We've got to make the better decision. I think the best decision that we all can make is that we aren't going to take on the negative, non-participatory way of being right now. We've all got to grab on and fight and come up with ways that are going to be beneficial to the greatest number of people that we can in the country. So
that's right. And build and find community wherever you are. Right? These are not easy times for many people. Find your community.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, I hope that you found community here hanging with us, Ibrahim. I really appreciate you taking some time out on this New Year's Eve to spend a little bit of time with us. Our audience appreciates you all across the country. Former senior advisor at the White House National Economic Council and now a fellow at Columbia's Center on Global Energy Policy, Ibrahim. Happy New Year to you. Thank you for all that you do, and we look forward to having you back in 2026. Does that sound good?
Yes. Thank you, Richard, and Happy New Year to you and your listeners.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you soon. Be safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. With that said, we're going to take a quick little break. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-690-6464. That's 800-690-6464. Again, that's 800-690-6464.
Through trusted relationships and national reach, CVS Health is uniquely positioned to simplify care. Learn more at cvshealth.com/investor day.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. California is holding off on revoking the commercial driver's licenses of some 17,000 immigrants. AP correspondent Donna Warder has more.
California is holding off on revoking the commercial driver's licenses of some 17,000 people, a week after immigrant groups filed a lawsuit. The state only sent out notices to invalidate the licenses after U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy pressured the state to make sure that immigrants who are in the country illegally are not granted the licenses. Now, California says it wants to hold off on revoking commercial driver's licenses to make sure that truckers and bus drivers who legally qualify can keep them. But Duffy says the state may lose $160 million if it doesn't revoke those licenses by a January 5th deadline. Duffy already has withheld $40 million in federal funding because he says California isn't enforcing English proficiency requirements for truckers. I'm Donna Warder.
The U.S. has deployed fighter jets, drones, and military ground vehicles to Puerto Rico as it pressures Venezuela. President Trump accuses Venezuela of exporting drugs. Starting tomorrow, SNAP users in Indiana, Iowa, Nebraska, Utah, and West Virginia will see new restrictions on soda, candy, and other foods when they shop for groceries. New England Patriots star wide receiver Stephon Diggs is facing strangulation and other criminal charges in connection with a dispute with his former private chef. A police narrative in a court filing about the case said a woman came to the Dedham Police Department in Massachusetts on December 16th to say that 2 weeks earlier, while working as a private chef for Diggs, he came into her bedroom and became angry during a discussion about money. More information at apnews.com. This is AP News. AP correspondent Ed Donahue has the latest on the government's case against Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
A court filing says ICE doesn't plan to detain Kilmar Abrego Garcia again, as long as a judge's order banning it stands. Abrego Garcia was mistakenly deported to his home country, El Salvador, and was in prison. Earlier this month, a federal judge questioned whether government officials could be trusted to follow orders barring them from taking Abrego Garcia into immigration custody or deporting him. The government accused him of being a gang member. Abrego Garcia denies it. His attorney, Simon Sandoval-Moschenberg, said last week the goal is to remain free.
Justice would be that he remain here in Maryland, free from the constant threat, free from the persecution of this government, free from the threat that they're going to try to remove him to, whatever fourth or fifth or sixth African country they can name.
I'm Ed Donahue.
And I'm Marcela Sanchez, AP News.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. A mixture of precipitation likely today, otherwise cloudy skies expected. Highs level off around 34, winds out of the west 10 to 15 miles per hour. Slight chance of snow tonight, lows level off around 11, partly cloudy skies. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Tomorrow, high temperatures reach up to 22. About an inch of snow today through tonight. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently 30.
Get fantastic deals on ceiling fans at Menards. Make your ceiling fan install a breeze with a quick install ceiling fan from Patriot Lighting. They're loaded with extra features designed to save you time. Plus, we offer a great selection ready to take home today. Hurry in and pick up a Patriot Lighting quick install Tisbury 3 large room ceiling fan for $79.99 through December 31st. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Welcome back to Choose Views with Richard Chew.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Great to have Ibrahim with us this morning. She's phenomenal. So many questions that were running through my mind, and I've just stumbled over some of the things just because there's so much information to talk with her about. But she definitely has her thumb on the pulse of what is happening and what needs to be happening when it comes to policy. And one of the things that she really, and we didn't get a chance to talk about this, but one of the things that was high on her mind is this K-shaped economy, two-tier economy. And that's one of the reasons I kind of led off with the three different, groups of people in terms of who's in the economy right now. And also she touched on this a little bit in terms of rising unemployment and the labor market and some of the concerns. I actually have a chart that I can send you guys. I can email it to you, something that she's posted as it relates to the real health of our employment, the employment part of our economy. If you guys would like to see this, and it does highlight the rising unemployment that's taking place and how the labor market may be weaker than the administration is really sharing with us, email me at richard@WCPT820.com, and I'll get that to you. So there you go. It's Wednesday, the last one of 2025. Which means, since it's Wednesday, that we're hanging out with our good friend Kurt Mullett from Hoosier Blue 63. Good morning, Kurt, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Richard. How you doing?
I'm doing
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I'm doing great, man. I am, like so many other people, excited about I would say excited about celebrating New Year, because it's always nice to hang with the people that you hang with and the folks and the friends and all that you hang with when it comes to the celebration.
Mm-hmm.
So from that standpoint, doing really well, and I hope you are as well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. So I got a couple of interesting text messages from people while during the last segment, and so here's one that I'm gonna read a couple to you, and then you can respond. One of them is, it's crazy that the clown, meaning Trump, is concerned about funding for projects that benefit many Native Americans, but has spent billions helping Argentina. America first, my backside. That was one of them. Another one that I received, but if nothing changes and people know that, then vote based on character. Well, they voted for a moral degenerate. That's one. Number two. Let's see. Number three. Remember when W, meaning George, praised the woman who was working 3 jobs. The GOP wants regular folks to be so busy working and too busy scrambling to get by so the wealthy and the GOP can destroy this country. They don't care if they make life tougher for the majority of Americans. What say you, sir? When in those three, let me get some commentary from you on those.
Wait a minute, we've only got about 20 minutes here, so come on. I mean, this administration is about wealth and power, and that's what we're heading towards. There could be signs of some things that maybe look positive to us, but let these things kick in and be in motion for a while, and we're going to see the devastation that's occurring. They want us to be sick, poor, and uneducated. That's the goal of Project 2025. It's clearly laid out in this administration. And I know we say those things all the time, and people might get tired of listening to it, and it's just a cliche, but it's the truth. They are destroying, middle-class America. They want 2 sectors. They want poor and they want rich, and we can see that by what's occurring. So yeah, there may be some things that look like on the surface to be, in a positive direction, but it's it's a temporary thing. The devastation that this guy's doing to our economy, to the workforce, to structures in our country, to the White House, and just other things. It's just, I try to be optimistic about what we could do to reverse this, but it's going to take a long time. I mean,
in a short period of time, what they've been able to do in a short period of time, it's not going to be, to your point, devastating. It already has been. Right. And Ibrahim spoke a little bit to this, and I wish we could have talked more about this, and that is the impact of the policies. Obviously, we've had for years issues with the disparity between uber wealthy, upper middle class, middle and non, lower income families. But the one thing that's clear is that policy can fix that. But to get to that point, we've got to have the right people in place to change the policy. And
absolutely,
that's
what we have to do.
Yeah, I mean, without that,
go ahead.
No. Without that, that's the struggle, is having the right people in place to change the policy to a direction that as I said, where as imperfect as they are, Kurt, our ideas tend to be better and to be more ideas that involve more people succeeding in the country. And it's a stark difference between Republican ideas that are about taking away from and tearing down and destroying versus, Democratic ideas, whether they be moderate Democrats or more liberal Democrats. Those ideas, our ideas in that tent, are better. But to get that in place, to have that policy, have those policies in place, we've got to change the numbers. And that's the part where I guess, like you, I'm realistic, but I am also optimistic about what we've gotten done with some of these elections and what we still have as the uphill fight. That's really where the work's going to come in 2026, is continuing the momentum so that we get the right people in place, have the right policies in place. What say you?
Yeah, we have to do a better job as voters to educate ourselves and to pay attention to actually who we are voting for. Of course, 99% of the time, it's better to vote for a Democrat than a Republican. That's just, 100% of the time, okay? But we have to do a better job at looking at who this Democrat is and where they come from and what their platform is and what they stand for, who's funding them. Where are the financial backings that this candidate, is drawing from? Because I think that says a lot about who they're going to be as a representative. When you're backed by big money and by PAC money and by corporations, you have an instant obligation to these people. That's why they're giving you the money, and money seems to be the central force that drives, everyone, of course, but politicians in particular. They're driven by this money machine, and we have to get it out of our government. And it's going to take a long time. And I think some of the movements that are occurring right now in our country, with some of the more progressive candidates and some of the Democratic Socialist candidates, like Mandani, and some of their policies and their line of thinking, I think is what's going to help change this. As long as they have a chance to let their policies work and implement their beliefs and stand for what they believe in and make sure that it happens, I think we'll be okay. But I've learned a lot over these last couple of years, and this money thing, the billionaires are killing us. They're destroying our economy. They're destroying our country. These AI centers that are going up. I mean, I've been doing a lot of study about that in Indiana here, and it's just astonishing what's happening with some of these things.
It's interesting.
Depressing.
And it's happening. It's happening in a number of communities. where there's a lot of land that they can use. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu, and we're talking with our great friend Kurt Mullett from Hoosier Blue 63. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I know I had to get that in. Listen, that point you made about tech centers, that's happening more and more. People got to pay attention to it. We said it was going to be the case, and here we are. But I want to come back to something you said about Mandami. I sent you the article that Sarah Jones had put together on the future is here as Mandami crushes Trump in popularity. But there's a reason for that. And as the article highlights, so you guys should go to the Daily with Sarah Jones and grab this article. But what Mandami is doing and what he ran on, and hopefully he's going to be able to hold the line on this, is he's making it clear that we can provide services, we can provide access, we can provide tools for everyday Americans in the city of New York and throughout the country. People were saying his message isn't going to fly, or he wouldn't be the candidate in, rural Idaho. But here's the thing about that people are forgetting. Rural Idahoans have issues with the economy just like people that live in Brooklyn do. So his message is a message, if you think about it, content-wise as it relates to helping everyday Americans. His message, like Mayor Johnson's message, is a message that I think is a lot stronger than people want to give credit for. But corporate media can't have that be the conversation, Kurt Mullett, because if folks in Idaho can say, yeah, why shouldn't we tax the wealthier in our state? Then if that becomes a message, corporate media is in trouble, because then what the listeners realize and the followers realize is that they were lying, because that message does work in Idaho. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. It does to me anyway, I should say. I don't know how everybody else feels about it and what the majority of Americans feel about it, because I think there are words that people immediately, when they hear, they don't understand and they get freaked out about it. And I think Mandani is one of those words, and I think Democratic Socialist is one, and I think Progressive is one, and I think there's a lot of buzzwords that people get scared about. But they need to realize that, the money's there. It's just that the money is being used to benefit the rich, and it's being taken away from the poor. And when people understand that and finally get that through their head, there's no reason why we should not have universal health care in our country. It should happen. We can afford that. Again, take that money that we're giving to all these corporations and apply it to the people. And it's not helping freeloaders. It's helping humans. And that's the direction what's wrong with that?
Yeah,
anybody that has a problem with helping their fellow man, I don't understand you.
Well, the taxing,
because
this gets back to what I was trying to say, and we didn't have enough time. The tax policy is part of the issue, because if we were to go forward and say to the Idahoans as much as we say to somebody that's in Brooklyn or that's in Chicago or any other place in the country, that taxing those wealthiest of people is going to benefit you, and here's how, I think that becomes, well, I would hope that would become a message that people can go, well, yeah, I mean, why would we not do that? But again, this comes back to how we as progressive liberal Democrats have really got to put the work in and make sure that message is out there and it's regular, and it's not just campaigning that or when you hear it, but it's regular part of our day-to-day conversations. And I could be crazy in that regard, but that's kind of how I see it. I
agree with you 100%.
Let me ask you a question about some local politics and some local things, meaning local in Indiana and Illinois. So, okay. So one's for fun, which I'll save that. The other one is certainly more serious. So in Indiana, you've got some unique things going on. You guys, great candidates that you've helped have on the show that are running, certainly left of center, more progressive, more not forgetting about the whole party, but recognizing that we've got to move this conversation a little bit away from the center in some cases. But you've also got some big names that are running in Indiana when it comes to some of the races in terms of Democratic candidates.
Right.
What happens when a Blythe Potter or other candidates don't get the nod, if you will, and it goes toward someone that might be more of a centrist as a Democrat that's running, and that leans itself into the question, like, how do you want to see the state respond, or Democrats voting in the state, if the more left candidate doesn't get the nod and someone that's more center, like a Bo Bai, gets a nod? Because that's a reality.
What happened to that? We were going to joke around and have some fun this morning. So here's my take on that. We're absolutely going to be in the fight all the way through this, and we're going to support the candidates that we feel like are going to make a change in our state and in our country, and that's what I think everybody needs to do. Do we think we're going to win every race? Absolutely not. We're realistic about this. It's going to take a long-term change of thought in order to get more candidates like this into position. But we're going to fight tooth and nail for every single one of them that we can. The difference between Blythe Potter and Bo Bai is that Blythe Potter is one of us. She engages with people. She is a grassroots candidate. 100% of her funding is coming from normal folk like you and I donating to her campaign, okay? She's going to fight for everyone in our country. She engages people on social media. She is out there visiting every community. She doesn't turn anything down when you ask her to show up. And those are things that people can relate to because she's a people person. It doesn't matter if there's 15 people at an event or 500. She's going to be there.
And she's all over. And here's the thing. Here's the thing that I love about her. I love this about her. She's all over social media. She understands the moment as it relates. I haven't seen really anything significant from Bai when it comes to reaching out to people all across the state of Indiana or across the social media channels. And that tells me something. Either he's taking it for granted or he doesn't care or he doesn't know, but he's not old.
All of the above.
But Blythe, on the other hand, she's out there. Her stuff comes up. I get that often. So you're right about her.
And if you look at, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say you're right about her reach out. Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at her comments, she engages with people, good or bad. She engages with people, where Bo does not do this. Just real quick about Bo, okay? He's a name-only candidate is who he is. This is who the guy is, okay, because people only know him because of his name. Okay, he is being funded by Republican billionaires across this country. He has got individuals who are sending him money. He has raised $1.225 million now in just about a 70-day period, which I'm not saying that's negative, but it's where the money's coming from. Mm-hmm. When you're getting money from billionaires from California who give to Republican PAC funds and back Mike Johnson and Mitch McConnell, you got to wonder, why is that money coming from there? The other thing that is a red flag that people need to pay attention is that his father, Evan, is now the national leader of the No Labels Party. Okay?
Yeah.
So, we got a kid who's never been in politics, who's running for office for the first time, whose father is basically a lifelong politician, who has now become the national leader of the most centrist organization in our country. Do you think Bo has, to stand on his own and make his own decisions, or is he going to follow the lead of his father? You know, those are things we need to be concerned about. Bo does not engage anyone on social media that has any questions or negative comments to him. He only engages those people that comment on his hair or say his dad was a nice guy or, you know, those kind of things.
Legacy politics and political activity. And so
he is not a change. He's not a change.
As much as, I mean, if Blythe raises $1.3 million from everyday folks, it's a different number of people that are contributing, and by virtue of that, it says that her outreach to those people is a little bit more broad based, which I think is what we as progressives have got to do. We've got to recognize that we've got to be as liberal and as progressive as we need to be to win. And a good example of this, in terms of the messaging, the Mandami message, the Johnson message, and others. It's a broad spectrum of messaging, but then you have a Renee Hardman in Iowa who gets it done by understanding the importance of reaching out to people and reaching across the aisle, as the phrase goes, Kurt, but she also held baseline in check. She knew what home was. Yeah. And so she was able to navigate that delicately in another red state, and Iowa's getting some stuff done. I mean, I'm proud of what they've been doing there. All right, man.
And I'll make one more comment about this, and then I'll go. And the state party is leaning towards Bo Bai because they are so desperate to put somebody in office and to get Diego Morales out of there. They think that Bo is the answer, and what they're failing to see is that if they support him and if they continue to ignore Blythe like they're doing, they're not making the right decision. Putting someone in a position just because they are a Democrat does not mean that's a good thing. Is it better than a Republican? Yes, but it doesn't make the changes that we need. So this is where we stand. So we're going to fight. So, and I appreciate you helping out and your voice and giving me the platform to talk to you. I enjoy this. It's something that, you know.
Well, we got a lot of work. Hey, listen, don't speak like we're shutting our brains down. We got a lot of work to do next year, man. What are you talking about, dude? I mean,
absolutely, it's just beginning.
It's just getting started. Jeez.
Yeah.
So here's one for you, and I know Michelle's next on the show, and Michelle will be cool if we run over a little bit. But here's one I got to throw at you in terms of a couple of fun things as we wrap up. Do you want the Bears to come to Northwestern Indiana?
No, stay in Chicago. Come on. The Bears are a Chicago team. I mean, come on. That's just.
Yeah, I know.
Say what it is.
I know.
I mean, no.
It's used for fertilizer. It's just.
Yeah. Exactly. That's just crazy. Stay in Chicago, please. That's where they need to be.
Yeah, and to put that out there in terms of I laugh at it. I laugh at it because it's like that's just insane, y'all. Keep the Bears in Chicago.
It is.
And it's right. On the city's got to do their part. So I know that people out there go, yeah, but Chew, Mayor Johnson isn't bending over and letting the Bears just run over him and take over. No, the city's got to do its part. I'm saying that. The state's got to do their part, and the Bears have got to do their part. You know, and so I just wanted to throw that out at you because I know it's.
Yeah, you don't sell the house to live in the woodshed just to keep a team in place. You gotta, come on, you gotta have, two sides of the. People both got to come to the table and do what's best.
Exactly.
For the Bears, for the Chicago, and for the whole thing. So,
yeah, the city has stood by this team when they were losing. It's time for the Bears to step up and win and be willing to negotiate in a better way. But in any event, I know I'm going to get some criticism, and that's okay. Bring it on, Kurt.
Yeah. Hey, the other thing, one more thing, the Indiana Hoosiers are playing tomorrow against Alabama. Indiana has never been in this position when it comes to football. Okay, never. You all know about Indiana basketball, but Indiana football, you need to watch them. They are a team to be reckoned with, and they're still not getting the attention they deserve. But let me tell you, their defense is something to be reckoned with. And my prediction is they're going to shut them down, and they're going to run roughshod over Alabama tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that.
Man.
So, yeah. They're the real deal, man. They're the real deal.
Wow.
Are.
That, as the phrase goes, them some fighting words, man.
So, I don't like Alabama or Ohio State, man.
Oh gosh!
Yeah,
check
two schools.
Check this out in terms of current events as we wrap up. I'm going to ask you this question. I know we're short on time, but Michelle is cool. We're going to get to her in a bit after we take a break. What have been? This is a two-part question. I've been asking as many people as I can this question that I've had on. What's been your, I guess, North Star from 2025? The thing that was the impact thing for you in 2025, and as we go into 2026, what's going to be your thing? Here's what I'm fighting for in 2026.
I mean, for 2025, besides my family and just the things that are the driving force behind me, are the people that I have made connections with and I've been able to meet over this past year. It's amazing. Just the people that are in this fight, and we keep building this coalition, and it's just something that has inspired me and been able to give me hope that the future is bright. It's just we got a 40-watt bulb in there now, but we need to put a 220 in there and let everybody see it. And that by far has been the greatest thing. It's given me inspiration, and you're part of that, dude. Of course, you came before 2025, but you're a big part of that. So I just wish that these groups that I get involved in, I wasn't the old man in every single one of them. Every single one of them, I'm like the oldest dude in there, But
that's a good thing.
Cool.
That's a good thing because they're
cool.
embracing you, you're embracing them, and you're proving everybody wrong that our generations can't work together. You're turning that on its head and say, "Oh, yes, we can." So
yes, we can.
That's awesome, man.
And we do think alike. Yeah. So, and for 2026, we're going to continue to fight. We are not going to back down. We're going to continue to fight for our democracy and against fascism. I sat down, was going to give you a list of 10 fascists, and that's hard to do. The top 10 fascists? I mean, seriously. I started writing, I'm like, well, wait a minute. No, I got to put Pam Bondi in there. And then it's like, okay, it's crazy. When you struggle to make a list of the top 10 fascists in our country and you can't get all the names in there, that's a problem.
You got to eliminate some people because we got too many of them.
Yeah. It's like the top 50. It's crazy.
I know.
So, but hey, I appreciate you, man. I hope you have a great New Year. Michelle, I love you.
Appreciate you, man.
You have a good segment with her.
Yeah, we will. It'll be fantastic. It's great to hang with you this year.
Happy New Year to all your listeners.
You've been one of my highlights for this year, and 2026 is going to be much of the same. We'll get it done. We'll stay fighting, and we'll keep leaning into this. Kurt Mullett, y'all. Who's your Blue 63? If you're not following him, tisk, tisk, tisk. All right, man. Happy New Year. Be safe, brother. All right.
You too, brother. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye. Let's take a quick break. Henry, 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago, WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM for Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. And when we come back, we'll be with Michelle Peltier. We'll be right back.
Hey, honey, what are you doing?
Studying for a math test.
You want some acupuncture?
Acupuncture can help with tests?
Yeah, that was the subject of my published doctoral work. My research showed that one acupuncture treatment before a test improves memory by 9.5%.
That's almost a whole letter grade higher.
And it reduced procedural errors by 36%. That's all from one treatment. Additional treatments help more.
Wow, I want some of that.
I have patients who will come in before final exams, SATs, MCATs, and other tests. And we've seen this technique help older folks with things like dementia and Alzheimer's.
Can I get acupuncture too? I have a vocabulary test coming up.
Acupuncture can help remedy problems, but it can also help a healthy person perform even better. Come see us at Chicago Community Acupuncture at Milwaukee, Devon, and Nagel. Call us at 773-853-0920, 773-853-0920, or what's the website, girls?
Chicamacu.com.
If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Last year, Mitch, 50, railroad worker, income 100 G's a year, score 630, called to consolidate his debt with a cash-out refinance. Team Hochberg loan officer Johnny Hendrickson helped Mitch pay off his debt and save $800 a month. Johnny called Mitch for a 6-month post-closing checkup and informed him his credit score was now over 700. Then Johnny helped Mitch lower his rate, remove the PMI, and save him another $400 a month while covering all his closing costs. Let's review. Team Hochberg loan officer Johnny Hendrickson helped Mitch eliminate his debt, save $1,200 a month, and improve his scores over 100 points. Team Hochberg's helped thousands of radio listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843 or visit that website you know you love, 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NLS 1124061.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. A mixture of precipitation likely today. Otherwise, cloudy skies expected. Highs level off around 34. Winds out the west, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Slight chance of snow. Tonight, lows level off around 11. Partly cloudy skies. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Tomorrow, high temperatures reach up to 22. About an inch of snow today through tonight. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently 30.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
He's not here to yell. He's here to inform and maybe stir the pot. This is Chew's Views with Richard Chew.
Hey, guys. Welcome back to the show. Great to have Ibrahim with us earlier in the show. Kurt Mullett from Hoosier Blue 63. Always cool to chat with Kurt, and his perspectives are important to what we try to do here and what we're trying to do throughout the rest of the country. So plug into the work that he's doing. You'll appreciate it, I would say. Throughout the course of this past year, I've had the luxury of being able to do this show, and I'm grateful for it. And I take it seriously and believe in what we're doing. But you don't do it alone. Henry, Devin, Lady B, Paul, Maddie B, Mike Mercado, all of our engineers here keep us on the rails, and they keep us going forward. They keep us strong. You guys just don't know. I say it. They work their behinds off, and they keep us in line. All of our shows that we have on the station are phenomenal. We've been blessed to have our live shows as well as the ones that come from different parts of the country, whether it be Stephanie Miller or Tom Hartman and Rick Smith and the other shows that we have, the Politics Bar with Jody Hamilton, all the rest. I don't take a lot of time away from the show because I love being here. But when I do that, there's a person that has been a great voice with us, and she's one of the co-hosts of the Family Meeting, but she's also one of our hosts here when I'm not here on those rare occasions. Who am I talking about? Of course, is Michelle Peltier, great friend and someone that has just been here and been supportive of what we do, but also a great voice. And I said, Michelle, I really would like to have you on as kind of the last voice that I have on the show before we wrap up 2025. So, Michelle, welcome. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, my friend. I'm good. My allergies are kicking my booty today, but other than that, I'm fantastic.
Man, it sounds like you've been breathing the pillow this morning or something.
I know, right?
I can't talk this morning. I can't. Oh gosh, I'm gonna get some allergy medicine. Golly.
I hope I don't sneeze throughout this whole thing.
Go snort some water or something.
I'm telling you, I've tried everything. I've been up since 5:30. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna be on the show. I can't sound like this. Oh my God. Anyway,
but you do.
Good morning. I know.
We have to call you what Eric calls you, Snotty Pippin.
I know, right? Today, I've got snot in my Kleenex right now. Oh my gosh. Anyway.
Yeah. Well,
so Kurt, I love him too. I love him. I heard him tell him I love him too, and Happy New Year.
Everybody loves Kurt. I get so many folks that are like, oh, we love Kurt. Kurt's so great. I love it when Kurt's on. And I'm honored. I mean, Michelle, this is how, you know this, but how that happened is Kurt was posting some stuff on social media a year and a half ago, and I saw it, and I was like, that's on point. And then there was a lot of, like I would see his stuff, and I go, I got to respond to this dude. And, it just happened organically, but what a blessing to have somebody like that we work together and we do this thing, and he's just awesome. And so many people. Here's the thing that like I say this about you, I say this about Eric, I say this about Kurt, and so many other people. Kurt Herner, Karen, and the list goes on. We've been given the opportunity to affect people's lives in a positive way.
Yeah.
And I take that seriously. And Kurt falls into that category as well, as you do, as so many other people do. But I wanted to have a chance to chat with you a little bit this morning as we wrap up this year and say thank you on air for you sitting in and filling in on those occasions when I do take a couple days to get my head right and all that. I really appreciate that, Michelle. I want everybody to know that across the country that it means so much to me, and I would not be able to do this show were it not for your support of what we do with this show. So I want that to be known by everybody that follows us across the country, that you mean much to me, you mean much to this station, you mean much to the work that we get done here. So I'm giving you your flowers en masse this morning.
Oh, my gosh. And you're going to make me cry.
Absolutely. You're damn right I am. That was a goal. That was a goal, Snotty Pippin. We ain't going to talk about anything important this morning.
But you know what, though? Thank you so much, because I've said it when I've been in your chair, that I don't take it for granted. I don't take it lightly. I mean, you have a choice, just like your listeners, when they stay listening to me when you're gone, they have a choice too. And I'm always so grateful that they stay and listen while you're gone, because they don't have to, and you don't have to pick me, and you do. And I am always overwhelmed, always so extremely grateful that you give me that opportunity, because it's for me, it's a big deal, right? To be in people's homes, in their cars, in their whatever, in the morning before they start their day is a big deal. It's a big deal. You've got a big show. But I feel the love of your listeners all the time when I'm there. They may not call, but I can feel them. But the ones that call, the couple that do call, I mean, I know that they're calling to just lift me up and listen to my crazy banter, because I am crazy in the morning. I know I am.
Well, but that's
screaming in the microphone, and I mean, I love doing it. I do. I really love it, but it's not lost on me what an opportunity it is. And so I will be forever grateful to you, my friend, for giving me the privilege of, sitting in your chair every now and then. So thank you.
Well, it's a partnership that we all have, these partnerships with the people that we do this work with. So I'm grateful that that you and I have been able to do that and be friends in the process. Eric Grant is another voice. He's going to hang with me a little bit on Friday because I want to get his take on 2026. I think it's important. So I asked him if he would call in so we can talk about how he's looking at what we're faced with and what we got to do and how that's going to play itself out. But Eric Grant,
you're going to be screaming at him. You're going to be screaming at him the whole time. You guys are going to be arguing the whole time.
Well, that's okay. That's okay.
That's part of it.
But that's part of it. That's one of the reasons that I wanted to have him on and as to talk about the things that ain't happening the right way and where the balls have been dropped and what has to be done. Or what won't be done. So it'll be that's by design, I want to get his take. And it might be sobering for some people, and that might be a good thing to start the year off with some stern soberness. But the other thing I want to say about Eric is appreciate his work here on WCPT. He doesn't, I don't think, get enough credit for being one of the voices. Important voices on the weekend that speaks to things that we all need to be talking about, and the listeners that follow the family meeting, which is that's my baseline in terms of how I became part of what's happening here at the station.
Yeah.
But the family meeting is a important show, and Eric as host and you as co-host are important parts of that. And we can't leave out our good friend Adrian and his contributions as well. But wanted to give a shout out to my man E, because he's been one of those voices that's been here for a long time, and he keeps on
a long time, over a decade, and that's amazing.
That's amazing, and that cannot not be stated. Eric Grant and the family meeting have been one of the staple, strong legs of this team. But that speaks to who Eric is as a human being, as a man, as a friend, as a cousin, and so I'm giving him his 2025 flowers. I know he's not going to take them, but too bad. I'm still going to give them to him.
And honestly, but for him, the three of us wouldn't be
without a doubt
together.
There's no question about it. There's no question about it. So praises to him. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu, and we are talking with Michelle Peltier, co-host of the family meeting, and my road dog when I'm not here, going off to get my head clear and get my sinuses right, because Snotty Pippin's on the phone with us this morning.
I know, and she's in trouble, y'all.
Oh, you in trouble, girl. You in danger, girl.
Yeah, in danger, girl, for sure.
Michelle, what have you been watching on television and on the streamings and all that? What's been keeping you busy there, or not busy, but it's certainly occupied?
I don't want to say, because I'm old now, so I'm not into any of the new kind of shows.
Yeah.
I just watch old stuff. So right now, and I'm ashamed, but I'm going to say it. I'm watching Mad Men again. And I'm absolutely loving it. There are no black people in it, but I still love that show.
Not even serving any coffee or cleaning up, pushing any carts around. Isn't it a damn shame? I mean, if there's a role, if there's jobs that we should have been, I mean, we always get depicted, or too many times we're depicted in that way, but they even showing folks cleaning up places.
No, nowhere. There's one black woman, and she's the token girlfriend of a guy who thinks he's liberal, but he's really not.
Yeah, I know.
But it's a good show, though. I will tell you, though, for over Christmas, I watched the 3 Creeds now, and I love all of those movies. I don't like the third one as much as the first 2, but the Creed movies are good. Have you seen them?
Not one. I've watched part of the first one, but not either of the other in their entirety. But I'll get them on the list.
Richard, you haven't watched it?
I'm in trouble. Golly, I haven't. No, I have not.
Have you watched Sinners?
Not yet. It's on the list.
You haven't watched Sinners either?
It's on the list.
Your card is. You have
mine is drilled into concrete. Mine is in concrete. It ain't going a damn place. It isn't going anywhere. Mine is in cement.
You haven't watched Sinners?
Not yet.
What is wrong with you? Oh my God!
It's on the list.
I cannot believe it.
So here's
what else is on your list?
Here's the funny thing about that question. So. I was espousing,
and you haven't done your part.
I was during Christmas hanging out with family. We were talking about different things and watching a variety of different stuff on, and my family, both sides, watch a lot of, meaning my nieces, in-laws, and my family watch a lot of the news and what's happening. So I found myself watching more news real time in 3 days than I have in probably 3 weeks. But
wait, what were you watching it on? Which news particularly were you looking at?
My niece's mother-in-law watches MS News quite a bit.
Okay.
So that was one of the things, and my sister watches that quite a bit as well. So it was, it was quite a bit of that. But here's the thing I wanted to tell you. This is what made me chuckle. Is I was talking about the connection that Denzel Washington and Delroy Lindo have, and they have kind of done a little bit of a talking tour of late. And I was sharing with the family how the two of them had, they were sitting down talking about their work together over the years. And they've known each other for seemingly, I think it's almost 50 years that they've known each other.
Yeah.
And worked
They were
together.
in the theater
In the
together,
theater
yeah.
together, right. And I was sharing with them that Denzel said that there's been times when Delroy Lindo should have been nominated for a Golden Globe or Academy Award. He's an actor that hasn't been recognized with the nominations, and I was saying that he needs to be nominated for his role in Sinners, and everybody in the house. Wait. Throwing myself under the bus. So he was saying that he felt that Delroy Lindo should be nominated for his role in Sinners. And everybody in the house said, when I was talking about this, they're like, oh, yeah. And they were talking about scenes in the movie. Everybody has seen it except for me. So there was that look. There was almost like that, that stop, everybody stopped eating for a moment and turned and looked at me like, have you not seen it?
What is wrong with you?
What is wrong with you?
Yes.
So,
come on now.
Yeah, I know. And hey, listen, I don't run from it. I got big shoulders. I don't run from anything. But there you go.
I don't know if you like that particular.
Listen, I'm going to love it. I know I'm going to love it. It just isn't. One of the things. Let me share this. This is crazy, and we're completely off the rails. But that was a design. Since COVID, my movie going went down dramatically, and I was a big movie going person. Ann and I would go catch a movie, at a drop of a dime. Movie going dropped off a lot during COVID, as it did for so many people. And there are certain things that, I just haven't seen or watched on not cable, but streaming or on the services, just because I haven't. There's a handful of really good movies that I've missed. So that's part of what it is. So there's a number of things that I've got to, kind of clean up on aisle 7 and watch. And Sinners is one of them.
Yes, Sinners and the Creed movies.
The Creed movies.
Sure.
Wow.
If you like boxing, or it's a great. They're great films. They really are.
No, I know, and everything that I've read about them speaks to that sentiment. So, all right, it's on the list. They are. You won't be able to trash talk me anymore about.
Jeez, I'm gonna talk bad about you till you watch them.
Oh, golly. Then so then what are we going to do? Have scenes that we break down and go, so what'd you think of this scene?
We can, for sure. I can do that.
I know you can.
Do that.
I know you can, and you will do that. So, oh, my goodness. So I take it that you just took it easy for Christmas and nothing too crazy like many of us should be doing at this point, just taking it easy, kind of enjoying life.
So, listen, I'm not – this whole season is not – in my wheelhouse. I stopped doing Christmas many, many years ago. And then when I brought my parents to Chicago to take care of them before they passed, we did it together those few years. But prior to that, I used to work in retail, and people were so mean and nasty. And I just thought to myself, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not getting on this treadmill of negativity and the pressure of buying gifts for people who don't appreciate them. And I just quit. And so it took me years to convince my family and friends not to give me stuff. I was like, I'm not giving you anything. I don't want anything. Let's just, because if I love you, if I'm walking around and I see something that reminds me of you, I will get it then and send it to you then.
Yep.
And not focus on just December. So I just kind of just stick to myself and try to get out of other people's way and other people's impression of what I'm doing, because people feel bad that I'm by myself, and they really shouldn't, because it's designed that way. I like it that way.
Yeah.
And so I do the same for New Year's. I'll just kind of wait until the next year. I'm hopeful for 2026 because 2025 was in the toilet.
Yeah.
I feel like we can only go up from here.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah.
Well, I appreciate that because I have most of my life I've recognized the what you just said about we get so driven into the holiday and the all that. And it always I always come back to something that my late Aunt Lillian said to me years ago. I was 15 years old, and it was about giving her and people you love their flowers while they're alive and every day, rather than just on a celebrated, made-up, quote-unquote, many made-up holidays. And, she was saying this back in the 70s, and it has stayed with me, maybe not all the way all the time. But I think that as I look at this, I think, we've got to be more willing to show the love and the care for people day to day, week to week, month to month, rather than just we get driven toward the holidays and spending a lot of money on things that we could spread out throughout the course of the year in terms of our generosity and our love. And
let me tell you something, Richard. People, when they receive something from me during the course of the year that's not in December, I feel like they appreciate it more because it's not it's just kind of random, right? They just get either a card or something from me just randomly, and they are more appreciative of it because it's so random.
Yep.
Right? It's not December, so I feel like it works in my favor, in their favor, and everybody's favor. And I'm nice during this season because I'm not running around crazy like a chicken with my head cut off.
Yep. That's the other part of it.
So,
So I want to read something to you, then I'm going to let you go because I want to wrap up a little bit early today. But this is a text that I received from one of our listeners, Granny T. Family, I love to laugh, so Michelle is very good for my soul. I enjoy all of you all the time. I'm so thankful for all the people in the background that help the program run. Thank you. I've been listening to WCPT for over 20 years. So she's been with us from the jump. So shout out to Granny T for those great words.
Granny T, thank you.
Isn't that great? Isn't that great? So, Michelle, my good friend, be well today. Happy New Year to you in advance. And thanks for hanging out with me a little bit this morning.
Thanks for having me, and thank all your team, Henry, Devin, everybody over there at WCPT. I'm sending you my love and my hope and joy for the next year. And Richard, I love you, my friend.
Right on, Michelle. Good talking to you, dear. Be well. We'll talk in the next couple of days, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Bye-bye. All right, guys, that gives me a little bit of time to just say these few words as quickly as I can. 2025 has been a B word in many ways, but we've got work to do for 2026. Let's start ourselves up. And Mike Tyson's phrase, you got to plan until you get punched in the face. Well, let's be ready to punch in the face with our ideas, with our heart, with our soul, with our energy, with our passion and our belief. We have to say this repeatedly. Our ideas, our way of being, our elements of care are better than the other side, whether it be local politics, regional, state, or national. Ours are better. Let's speak loudly to that. I want us to fight hard and win in 2026 and beyond. When the clock ticks to the new year tonight, make it your point and purpose to go into this year, like my father used to say, with your dukes up. Be ready to fight on all fronts. Take no mess from anybody. Let them know we are bringing sledgehammers to this fight because we're ready to tear down the bad and build that back up with something better. I love you guys. I appreciate everybody that listens to our show and all of our shows here on WCPT. I want everybody to have a safe New Year as we bring it in, and let's come out of the gate fighting on the other side. Peace to everybody. We'll see you very soon.
This is Tony Moret. I'm an estate planning attorney who drafts living trusts and wills for my clients. You have probably heard my ads here on WCPT for the last few years. Your fellow listeners, when we have completed their plans, say, I wish I had done this sooner. It wasn't nearly as hard as I thought it would be. We can complete your estate plan within 30 days or less. There are certainly decisions that need to be made, but my 30-plus years of experience will help guide you through this process. There may never be a perfect time to start, but whenever I'm asked when is the best time, my answer is always the same. Now is the best time, while it is on your mind. Being able to tell your family that you have an estate plan in place, that all the details have been taken care of, will be a great relief to both yourself and those you care for the most. Our initial consultation is without charge, and there is no obligation. My phone number is 847-996-0496, and my website is moreelawoffice.com, spelled M-O-R-E-E. I look forward to speaking with you.
Jose and Laura came to Brookfield Tax Planning worried about their taxes. After their free, no-obligation tax reduction review, they discovered they'd been overpaying $8,100 every year for 28 years. That's $227,000 of hard-earned money gone forever. Why? Jose and